So yesterday, I made a segment about Nick Fuentes' new Nazi streaming site, and a guy commented on that video, clearly a Groper, and he actually had the check mark next to his name. His name was Truth Behind the Lies, and I kind of assumed he was going to be some like Nazi like rant sona YouTuber, like it would be one of those like rage rant sona types where it's like on the side of the screen, and then the person's going to be like talking over it, like yelling about politics and the Jews and whatnot. The person's a Nick Fuentes fan. They're Nazi. And I clicked on their channel, and I shit you not, this person is this Nazi dude, this fucking Groper here, is a Roblox YouTuber, a 164,000 subscriber Roblox YouTuber. Which is just not exactly the type of crossover that you would be expecting, but regardless, it is what it is. I'm not going to complain. You got to get your hustle, but he wants to talk now, so we're going to bring him in. Seeking the Trad, a.k.a. Truth Behind the Lies. How are you doing, partner?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm having a good day. Woke up fairly early, had myself some chocolate chip pancakes my girlfriend made me for breakfast, and now I'm streaming. What's up, buddy?
There you go. So what's going on?
I mean, you seem to take issue with my video on Nick Fuentes' new streaming platform. I mean, I assume that's what you'd want to talk about, right?
Well, I mean, it's a nice streaming platform. There's nothing wrong with it. It's very aesthetically pleasing. It's very sleek, very clean.
Hold on, let me ask chat something. How's the audio, chat? Is the audio balance good, or are we about the same volume? Yeah, it's good? Okay. Yeah, so are you, like, a fan of Nick Fuentes?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I am.
What do you agree with him politically about? Do you believe the Holocaust happened, or are Jews bad? What's the draw for you?
I don't really understand what you're trying to get to here.
Well, Nick Fuentes believes the Holocaust didn't happen.
That's not true. You're misquoting him on that.
I am?
He has.
What am I misquoting?
That's not his belief. That's just a straight up lie. He's said plenty of times that it has happened.
Is it also a lie that Nick Fuentes has eaten his own boogers?
I mean, I'm sure many people have eaten their own boogers. I don't know what that has to do with anything.
I don't think I have. Well, because
I mean,
there's
I would
video of
assume
Nick
you
Fuentes.
probably
Well, the
have.
reason why I bring up the booger thing is because Nick Fuentes has eaten his own boogers live on camera. There's a clip of it, and there's also a clip of Nick Fuentes for like 5 minutes straight going on about Holocaust denial, only he replaces Jews with cookies.
I've never seen the booger
ovens.
thing. I've never seen the booger thing. But the cookie
Do you want
joke,
to?
yeah, that's a
Wait,
classic.
Do you want to see the booger thing?
You
Yeah,
can
I know
link
it's a
it to me.
classic.
I'll
Everybody-
watch it later.
I'm not really
interested. But the
Anyway,
cookie joke's a classic. I mean, that one was great.
I know you guys love it because he was so based. He was denying the Holocaust there, and he had like his little.
But
bit
he's
around there.
not he's not denying the Holocaust. I mean, that's ridiculous to say that.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but does he not say that it is mathematically impossible to cook 6 million cookies in that period of time? He literally goes on about how you would have to see the like from over the head pictures, like from the sky pictures looking down. You would have to see shadows from smokestacks in certain places. Like he literally just does the entire Holocaust denial meme, only replaces Jews with cookies.
Yeah, that's not a denial though. I don't think you know what a denial is. I mean, he might question some of the statistics, maybe some of the numbers, he thinks maybe they're a bit off, but he doesn't straight up deny that it ever happened.
How many people do you think died in the Holocaust?
I'm sorry?
How many people do you think died in the Holocaust? How many people do you think were killed in the Holocaust, I should say?
I have no idea. I wasn't there.
Do you trust historical accounts on it?
I mean, there's plenty of historical facts on numerous things in history that have been exaggerated or just straight up false. I'm not going to say that the Holocaust didn't happen, but I wouldn't doubt it if the numbers were fudged a little bit to make it seem worse than it was, but I have no idea. I don't really know. I wasn't there.
Why would it need to seem worse than it was? Why would people do that? What's the point in trying to fudge the numbers in the Holocaust to make it seem worse than it was?
I'm not sure, to push a certain narrative, to have more control
What narrative
over.
and who's pushing it? What narrative and who's pushing it?
I don't know. I don't know, man.
Do you want to know who Nick thinks is pushing it and what the narrative is?
Sure.
Well, being a lefty YouTuber, and of course you're a Groper, you watch Nick Fuentes' content, so I'm sure you're quite aware of this, but part of my job is to respond to arguments like this, so I'm quite familiar with what Nick Fuentes' opinion on this particular topic is. He believes that the Jews control many aspects of our government all around the world, and have different positions of power overwhelmingly, such as Hollywood, government, etc. And he believes that the Jews are trying to indoctrinate the white race into believing that at some point the Jewish people were a genocide was attempted upon them in order to guilt white people into becoming more susceptible to the nefarious schemes of the Jews. And he believes that the Holocaust wasn't real; it was made up. The Jews are using it as an excuse to try to push some kind of white guilt narrative and achieve their ends, which can range anything from pushing progressive ideas to full on trying to go all the way around and make white people not exist by bringing in brown people to America. That's what he believes.
So you're definitely over exaggerating the Holocaust thing, just because you know that your viewers aren't going to look it up themselves. They're not going to.
Oh, actually, I'm going to play it on stream right now.
The cookie joke? I think you should also play. There's probably about 4 or 5 other clips you can find of him saying that the Holocaust did happen, and there's clips of him addressing the cookie joke. You know, I'm sure you.
Do you think there's much of a like a worthy difference between believing that the Holocaust happened but they're lying about the numbers to push an agenda, and the Holocaust didn't happen and they're lying about it to push an agenda? Like, do you think there's much of a difference there? Or do you think at the end of the day it's Holocaust denial and it's a problem if you are not a Nazi, of course?
No, I think you have a right to question everything. I don't trust the numbers that they give me on anything. I don't trust a lot of things. You know, they lie today, right now. They're lying about the COVID statistics right now, right in front of our faces. Who's to say they wouldn't lie back then?
What are they lying about?
Well, the amount of deaths, you know, the case numbers.
Where are they lying about it? How are they lying? And how do you know the truth? Who's telling you the truth?
I'm not sure. Like, I didn't come here prepared to do any kind of debate, so I don't have any pages open. I don't have any things to read off of. You know, I joined your chat. You told me to hop on and debate you. I didn't even know what the topics were going to be. I'm not well versed in all of these things. So I don't have any numbers to pull off. I don't have any sources to pull off for you.
I don't even think this is much of a debate. Usually debates have like a set topic and we're arguing down the line. We're just like, I just brought you on and I'm asking about the most like basic thing that anybody who has an issue with Nick Fuentes would bring up, right? Like, if you're a fan of him, surely you'd be able to defend his honor even in some way. I actually debated a guy named Kai Clips, who's like a conservative TikTok guy the other day, and he's like a huge Groper. Yeah. He wears the suit and he talks like Nick Fuentes and everything. Like, he was able to bring more to the table.
Well, look, man, I'm just a regular guy. I am a Groper. I don't watch every single thing Nick produces. I don't know every single quote he has. I don't know every single take he's ever had, but I am a Groper. I do try to watch him a few nights a week. I support him. I'm, with the America First movement. I don't know every single take he has, and I don't know how to defend every take he has. I will say that I definitely know you're exaggerating the Holocaust clips, because there's numerous clips I've seen myself of where he talks more in depth about it. Specifically, the cookie clip.
What do you think he meant by the cookie clip then?
I mean, he was reading a super chat and he just made a joke about it. It's really not that.
He went on for like multiple minutes and did the whole Holocaust denial, like, oh, you'd have to see this and this. He literally just did like the typical Holocaust denial, but replaced Jews with cookies and Hitler with the Cookie Monster. Like, that's textbook dog whistling. Just replace the thing you're talking about with another word, so that you can maybe get around the mods a little easier. Because we're talking about a time when Nick Fuentes was on YouTube and had to be careful. I mean, comedy is subjective, but I don't think he was joking. You know, there's a difference between, like, something could be a meme and not be a joke. What he said was a meme. it was meant to be funny, but it wasn't meant to be, oh, I'm joking, I'm not serious. He is serious. He is actually advocating for something he believes in. He's just doing it in a way that he finds funny and that he knows his audience will find funny. I do that as well. Just because I make a joke on stream doesn't necessarily mean it's not based on something that I agree with, right? Like if I make a joke about conservatives being pedophiles, for example, that doesn't mean that I literally think every conservative is a pedophile, but it does mean that I think that the Conservative Party has been pushing many things that I think will result in children being hurt.
I find that kind of funny. I don't understand. How would the conservatives be pushing pedophilia when it's...
Well, they've been trying really hard to preserve child marriage in this country, and they've also been pushing really hard against sex education being taught at a younger age, which directly correlates with children being harmed more. Children need to know how to go to an adult and tell someone they trust if they're being sexually abused, and to do that, they need to have proper sex education, and conservatives have been trying to take that away for a very long time. They've been fighting tooth and nail, and this has been found almost overwhelmingly to result in children not understanding how they're being abused sexually or when they're being abused sexually and who to go to and what to say in order to have justice be done for them. And of course, conservatives have always been like the number one consumers of things like child beauty pageants, the Honey Boo Boo shit, etc. Yeah, no, I mean, there's absolutely an argument to be made there.
Yeah.
Oh, and of course, the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church, yeah, there's also that.
The Catholic, everyone brings up the Catholic Church. Why don't you look up the numbers of sexual assaults by rabbi? It supersedes the Catholic Church by quite a bit.
Hey, but you forgot something, my good friend. I am an atheist. I do not care about religion whatsoever. I would criticize Jewish people's religions just as much as I would any Christians, okay? Why did you have to bring up the Jews, though? We're talking about the Catholic Church.
Why don't you brought up the Catholic Church. I brought up a comparison. Why don't you look it up with public schools and public school teachers? Because that also supersedes the Catholic Church.
Do you think that I'm in favor of kids in public schools getting sexually abused by teachers?
You brought up the Catholic Church as like a little zinger, so I'm just giving you
like
the
goalpost. I like the goalpost move, though. I do like it. It is a pretty good Nick Fuentes fan tactic. No, but I mean, you asked me for examples of how the right is pushing.
What about the left pushing the? What about the left pushing the LGBT and transsexual issues towards children and having children transition?
How's that hurt children?
How does that not hurt children?
No, how does that hurt children? You're making the argument. You have to prove it hurts children. How's it hurt children?
I can't prove it off the top of my head. Like I said, I don't have any sources. But
of course you don't have any sources.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that transitioning little children is wrong. It's immoral, and it's going to cause problems.
Why is it immoral, and what problems does it cause?
Well, for one, the suicide rate for LGBT, especially transsexuals.
The suicide rate for trans people is much lower after they transition than before.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
Okay, show me some sources. DM me some sources that I can read after this, because I don't believe that for 1 minute.
Absolutely. I would love to. I've got it right here.
Yeah, and I'm sure you do. Like I said, I'm not prepared for something like this. Like you made fun of me for earlier.
I got all sorts of shit saved. All right, I got all sorts of shit saved on my little taskbar.
I'm sure you do. I believe you. I'm just a Roblox YouTuber, like you said before. I don't have these things saved. Mm-hmm. I just do my Roblox content.
Yeah, here we go. I can literally just copy and paste this entire section here and just drop it for you. It's got multiple links, and it condenses what the links say. If you don't feel like reading through everything, but you can also just read through all of it if you like. That is up to you, though.
Okay.
Here you go. It's a bit of a chonky thing there. I don't expect you to look through all of it right now. That would be unreasonable of me. But I'll give you a short little go down here. We've got Cornell.edu here, enormous meta-analysis on transgender people and the effect of gender transition on their mental health. Of 56 studies, 52 have indicated transitioning has a positive effect on the mental health of transgender people, and 4 have indicated it had mixed or no results. 0 studies have indicated gender transition has negative results. This pretty much ends the argument. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And you can go through all of these, yeah. It's been found overwhelmingly. There's some studies that I've heard people try to bring up to claim that it harms trans people to allow them to transition, even children. Although children transitioning is very different than adults transitioning. The same process is obviously not done. You're not going to be giving hormones to children or allowing children to receive sexual reassignment surgery or anything like that. But as for adults, allowing them to transition obviously results in their suicide rate dropping because it's clearly what they want to do. They seem to try to do that quite hard. And there's been some studies brought up where people try to claim the opposite effect, but even the authors of those studies that I've seen conservatives try to bring up to try to claim it hurts trans people have come out and said, no, that's not what the study says, and have debunked it, like themselves, the authors of the studies, saying, no, you're taking this data out of context. That's not what this means. There is no hard evidence whatsoever that would suggest that trans people are hurt by being allowed to transition or being accepted in society. There is an overwhelming amount of evidence that it does help them and improves their mental health. As for children transitioning, what the overwhelming majority of the scientific community currently seems to agree on is that allowing children to behave and identify as what they like is helpful to their mental health, and that at a certain point, with the help of a medical professional that is trained in their field, and of course the advice of that medical professional, they may be put on hormone blockers, which basically just put off puberty. They can be reversed, and they put off puberty long enough for the child to get old enough to no longer be a child and make the educated decision, along with the help of medical professionals, to go on and transition as an adult.
Right. See, I don't have a rebuttal for that. All I have to say is that I think it's evil. I don't think it's right. And I mean, I follow God. I follow Christ. I don't agree with any of those things. Regardless, even if what you're saying is true, where the suicide rates go down a little bit after transition, I mean, the suicide rates are still incredibly high.
Oh, no, they go down significantly. They go down significantly, way more, especially on top of being allowed to transition and being given the resources to do so. Not only does that drop their suicide rates, but what drops their suicide rates almost down to the same level as any ordinary person who's not trans is being in an environment that's accepting of their identity. If they're able to transition with as few roadblocks as possible and their family and friends, just their family and friends, are accepting of them, their suicide rate, trans people's suicide rates drops almost down to the level of people who aren't trans. Almost. Imagine if we made society just generally more accepting of it. That suicide rate would drop to damn near just the normal level, maybe even lower. Mm-hmm. Anyway, as for the God thing, I myself am not religious, but I do find myself to be, I guess you could call me a scholar of religious texts. You know, I've read the Bible once or twice. It was my understanding that God gave humans free will, and that's our biggest gift, right? That's what makes us special. That's what puts us above all of God's other creations, right? Doesn't our free will mean something? If God found it so important that humans, being the greatest of all of his creations, the creation he loves the most, he would give it to us, shouldn't we be able to use that free will?
No, I think... look, that's kind of ridiculous to assume something like that. Yeah, I have free will. I could go, I could go murder someone. I could do horrendous acts. That doesn't mean it's okay just because I have free will. That doesn't really add up.
Do you believe that murder is only bad because the Bible dictates it so?
Yes.
Interesting. So if you weren't a Christian, if you just had like, if some ethereal entity from another plane of existence came before you, you saw it with your own eyes, and it spoke to you, and it showed you the truth of the universe, and it turned out there wasn't a God, you wouldn't find murder to be bad because you would no longer believe in the Bible?
Well, something like that will never happen, and that's a hard thing to argue against because it doesn't really make any sense to me, but one thing I know is that without God, if there's no God, then there's no point to life. There's no right or wrong. Nothing matters. If you believe that when you die, that's it, you're just dead, then there is no right or wrong. There is no morality. Morality comes from God, from believing in a God.
Why do you think I don't kill people, don't rape people, and don't try to make the world a worse place? Or I try to make an effort to make a world a better place? Not believing in God. I don't believe in God at all. Why do you think I do that? What do you think motivates me to do that?
Because the morality was taught generation to generation by religious people, such as Christians, and without that,
nobody in my family for generations has been Christian.
It doesn't matter if it was in your family or not. It's part of society.
Do you think Christianity is the only religion that believes murder is wrong?
Of course not. That's why I said religion as a whole, but specifically Christianity, because Christianity is the correct religion. It's the one.
So you think that most people, were it not for religion, would just be out there just killing each other all the time? And we have no functioning society?
Yeah, I definitely think that's possible.
That's really weird. I feel like most human beings, for one, would probably feel some sort of deep, conscious-wise, like immoral feeling. If they were to kill someone, they would feel some kind of guilt about it. Obviously, there's exceptions to this. But even broadly, I feel like there are plenty of justifications, just logic, bro, or morally, for not killing people. We don't want to live a society... Sorry, my parents are visiting, and so they're being very loud. you don't want to live in a society in which people feel free to just go around killing each other, obviously. So even out of your own self-preservation, there's a motivation not to do that. But as for your life having meaning, I find meaning in making the world a better place. Even if there is no afterlife, I like to think that if I work hard enough, maybe I can leave the world a modicum amount better for generations that'll follow me, even if there is no afterlife. Man, maybe when I die, it's just there's nothing. Everything goes away. That doesn't mean I shouldn't live my life to the fullest, do what makes me happy, that being streaming and making political content, or, just trying to push the world in a better direction, try to advocate for what I believe in.
Okay. Well, that's great and all, but what does that have to do with Nick Fuentes? Do you think Nick Fuentes is pushing the world in a bad place? Because I think that...
Absolutely.
No, I disagree with that completely. Explain to me how.
I mean, he obviously pushes super far-right ideas. He pushes Nazi ideology as well. I think that makes the world worse.
Why do you use the word Nazi? I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Because it's a word
He's clearly not a Nazi. The Groipers clearly aren't Nazis. You know that.
What do you think Nazi means?
National Socialist Workers' Party.
Yeah, it's more or less what I expected. Yeah, the reason why people use Nazi to refer to people today in America who agree with the ideas of the Nazi party in Germany is because it's a word that we're familiar with, and that's what we do with language. We use words that people are familiar with to make it so that, oh, that person's a Nazi? Okay, I have a pretty good idea of what their political ideology is, rather than just, rattling off a list of things Nick Fuentes believes and being like, okay, so there you go. Which I can do. I can rattle off a list of things Nick Fuentes has said and believes, but I think it's just easier to say he's a Nazi because it's accurate.
Okay. I disagree.
Well,
I mean,
anything else you want to talk about? How's Roblox these days? Is it a good game? I heard there was some really fucked up shit in the Roblox community around creators and being monetized. There's this issue where you've got all these kids that want to make Roblox games on Roblox, and they're basically taking Roblox is actually siphoning money from these kids because every time they make a game, they want to pay Roblox to advertise their game more so they can get up there. And so you end up having all of these really wealthy people who've made really popular games who can just rip off smaller, especially younger creators of these games in order to monetize, just rip them off, make it a more polished version of their game, pay Roblox to support it, and then boom, you've got another huge game, and it's a really big problem.
Okay, I wouldn't know a whole lot about that. I mean, I do know plenty of developers, and they're making tons of money. If you have a front-page game, if you have a popular game, then I know you definitely do make quite a bit of money on Roblox. I don't know anything about the rates specifically, especially not compared to, other platforms like Steam, but I do know that there is a lot of money to be made as a Roblox developer.
There's actually a really good video on this called, I think it's this video here. I saw another streamer watch it. So I've seen the video in its whole, but I haven't seen the video in its whole on the original channel. I think this is it. Is this it? Let me check. I gotta wait for it to load. Yep, this is it. It's actually a really good video. It's not political or anything, but I doubt we're gonna have any disagreement over this video. It's just genuinely, I think you would actually just genuinely find this to be an interesting video. Roblox currently gives about 25% of the monetary value made by a game to the creator of that game, but that's before you account for the fact that in order to get your game into the eyes of a lot of people, you have to pay money to Roblox in order for them to advertise it. That's what all the big games do. They all had a bunch of money and they paid Roblox to advertise it. We're talking about recently. Obviously, this may not have been the case 5, 6, 7 years ago. They pay to have it advertised. So these smaller creators, not only are they only getting 25% of the income their game is generating for Roblox company or Roblox corporation or whatever, they're also paying out of pocket their own money just to advertise the game. And then on top of that, the money they're getting is in a currency made by Robux. And there's a transfer rate as well to transfer those Robux into real money. So at the end of the day, probably one of the biggest scams and exploitation of children is happening on the platform of Roblox. It's a huge issue. The video I sent you was made national headlines. It was a huge deal. It may have serious implications on the company that makes Roblox.
Yeah, I've seen that video recommended to me. I've never checked it out personally, but I mean, if what you're saying is right, yeah, those rates do seem incredibly low. But at the same time, I mean, where else are children going to go to try to learn a skill like that? I mean, Roblox is pretty much the only platform that allows that.
That's the big problem. Roblox has built an amazing platform that allows you to build games and stuff like that. The only problem is, and this has been talked about a lot by creators, Roblox game creators, is one, it's impossible to port your game out of Roblox if you want to take it out of there because it's all made in Roblox engine. But also, the way that you make games in Roblox's engine is very different. Oh God, I know what's about to happen. I hate you. I hate you. Don't do that. Sorry, I was talking to someone in my chat. Anyway, the way that Roblox has built their system for making games the skill doesn't transfer well to other programs. So if you get really good at making games in Roblox and you realize you're being scammed and you want to go make games yourself, you're basically starting all over. The skill just doesn't transfer well to other platforms like Unreal Engine, for example, which is another common engine used for creators to make games. Just the skill doesn't transfer over. So Roblox basically has you in a death grip. Like, you've got the skill that can only be used on our platform. We're taking over 25% of your income realistically. And even if you do get that 25% and you luck out, you're not even getting that much because the transfer rate of Robux to real money and the bit that they take out of that to even just turn Robux into real money you can use. Huge problem. You should definitely check out the video.
Right. I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a problem, personally. I see what you're getting at. The rates could definitely be better, but it's not like you're forced to program for Roblox. I don't really see where the issue would be.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I have friends that are making 6-7 figures from developing Roblox games.
Well, you could make the same argument for YouTube, right? I have friends who make millions from YouTube and streaming. That doesn't mean that it's realistic for the average person to think they can make a career off of YouTube and streaming. It's a very it's up there. Obviously hard work pays off on these platforms, but you do have to kind of luck out when it comes to the algorithm. I got really lucky to be where I am with YouTube. So did you. Doesn't mean there wasn't any hard work involved, but I do think that with a lot of kids, especially in the Roblox, you should watch the video because most of your questions and most of your points you have now get addressed there. But a lot of these kids feel like, nah, this is what I want to be my future. I'm going to fucking work at it. And they end up overworking themselves like crazy. I know it's them doing it voluntarily, but children don't know better. They don't know when they should stop working and take a break and do something else. They push themselves if they're motivated. And there's been some serious problems with kids dealing with like health problems because they're working so hard on making these Roblox games, thinking they could make the next big game and this could be their career. And it's really fucked up how the company's taking advantage of them.
Right.
Anyway, I enjoyed our conversation. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap things up?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry I didn't have more points to make. Like I said, I'm just a normal guy. I'm not a political YouTuber, as you know. But I don't know. I mean, I support Nicholas Fuentes. I'm a Groper either way. Yeah, I don't really have anything to say, honestly.
Well, alrighty. I appreciate you coming on. It's been fun, and have a good one, okay?
Alright, you too.
See ya. Well, that went about exactly how I expected it to go. That went about exactly how I expected it to go. Tell him to stop saying that or I'll never get a GF. I don't know that guy's personal life. Play the video, Zan. It is a good video. It is a really, really good video, but unfortunately we've got other stuff we have to do today, so we cannot sit here and watch a 22-minute video about Roblox right now. The Nick clip was incredible. The one with like the booger eating thing. Yeah, that was pretty funny. He got a nosebleed too. Listen, there's a difference between getting a nosebleed from dry air and a nosebleed from picking your nose, all right? And the picking your nose nosebleed is always the most embarrassing, okay? No, I was just talking about eating pancakes, Treehouse Inc. I had chocolate chip pancakes this morning. I'm very proud of myself. Anyway, if you enjoyed that video, leave a like, subscribe, ring the bell icon, follow me on all my social media, link down below, especially my Twitter and my Discord. And if you want to support me financially because you got the money for it, you don't need it for anything else, and you don't know what to do with it, you can always support me financially by donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub over on my website. You can also do the same on YouTube, Twitch, and on Patreon and Streamlabs. I really appreciate any financial support as it does allow me to keep doing what I do here. This is my full-time job. But no matter how you support me, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and have a good one.